talking like this.
Whatever you did is better.
Yeah,
Okay, cool.
A little bit for now.
Citron better?
No, actually more than that.
More than Citron.
More than Citron. It's important to be more than the Citron. All right. Well, then to that end, as much as I can be, let's kick this pig. I'm ready.
Wait, a second. Sorry.
Oh, come on. We've been sitting
Jeff, I parked a 50-foot
RV.
RV. And, please tell me we're recording this. Oh, look at that. Oh, you know what? And Chris, you're inspiring me. It is definitely Beer 30. So.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if I should stop this recording and start again, or if Jeff can get going quick.
We're going.
Okay.
Oh. Well, check that one off. Jeff has speaker problems.
Welcome to E1R Racers,
a
show designed for the world of what the heck? A show designed for the world of low-dollar racing, oddball car culture, and laughing at your friends. It doesn't matter what kind of lemon champ or lucky track dog you run, SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate, as long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussion, tips, tricks, as well as news and notes from the world of low-dollar endurance racing. Whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky and Jeff gives you just a tip, we're sure you're going to giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mental.
And we are E1R Racers. Thanks for coming back and listening to another regular gas episode of our podcast. That's right, it's episode 87. If you're not driving a car, don't forget your E1R bingo card.
And
it's all updated.
Like on a race weekend, right now we're 10% alcohol. So yeah.
Oh.
10%.
Like that, I feel like I can already check off General Wakeman problem because I feel like I already had this load of the game.
Probably.
Mm-hmm. No, because we have a specific one for speakers. You can't call the speaker a General Wakeman problem. Now, undoubtedly during the RV update, we will have General Wakeman problems.
Sure. Okay, what you working on, Chris? Let's get this going.
Let's sum it up. Snowflake. For those listening to the recent episodes, I'm involved in the purchase of Mental's RV.
Somebody's going on.
Yeah, Mental, probably you. Your speaker is being picked up by your microphone.
Sorry, I was untangling my headphone cord.
Sure.
So,
Again.
I didn't buy, but Chrissy's mom bought Mental's old Suburban, and I was the facilitator of said event, and not only in making the love connection, but also flying into Atlanta and then driving it home. So,
and do mention, because I tried to get this to Vicky. Vicky just refused to recognize the circular beauty of this. But when we talked about it at dinner when you got into town.
Yeah. Well, 7 years ago, almost 6.5 years ago, Mental, in the Air Force on deployment, out of deployment, he was in the country. He came up and raced with us in New Hampshire in October of 2012. The weekend Hurricane Sandy hit, and he couldn't get a flight home. So we sold him our not very janky at all, 187,000 mile Land Rover Discovery 2, which he then proceeded to drive from Pennsylvania to Oklahoma straight through in a blizzard. And then Vicky proceeded to daily drive that for the next several years. But this time, I'm the one that was buying a cheap, janky, high-mileage SUV for a $1,000-ish price from the other and driving that many hundreds of miles.
Yeah, across the country,
yes.
It's a GM. What could go wrong? I mean, everything could go wrong, but it'll still roll.
Yeah. Oh, I drove home at 80 the whole way and got 17 miles per gallon, which I was quite impressed by because my Suburban
really good.
Yeah,
my Suburban. Now that you know what's inside of it.
Oh, hell yeah. I can't believe the thing ran nearly as well as it did, considering all the things I've done to it in the last week. But I had a great flight. She dropped me off. I had carry-on luggage only and only TSA pre-check, so there were a grand total of 2 people in line and security in front of me, so that was great. Got through in plenty of time. Made sure to bring my 3-ounce bottles in a clear plastic bag that were full of rum, so that made the flight go by more quickly.
That was my idea.
Yeah.
And it's
TSA
still brilliant.
in it. So flew down. Mental picked me up. He and I went out to a hipster part of town and got a delicious burger and a beer at a place where a guy was sleeping in the grass between the parking lot island and next to a stolen rental bicycle. And yep.
He is not elaborating any part of that story. That is micro level of truth.
Up next to a police officer, actually, who was paying him no attention. So we had a delicious burger and beer at a great place in the hipster part of town. Then we went back to the Air Force Base where Mental had the RV parked in the FAM camp, which is something I never knew existed. That military bases have places you park campers for people like family or for people who are too cheap to have another house. They can do that too. So we went to bed. Of course, we went to bed nice and early at 2 to get up at 7 to drive 800 miles the next day. And that's I drove home. We'll talk more about that in the main segment. And then since then, I've been evaluating and fixing Snowflake. So I guess I'll tell you the things I've done, Mental. You'll appreciate this. So since evaluating, ordering parts, and working on it, I have replaced the rear springs that were sagged with a set of new Moog heavy-duty ones, which are $52 shipped because GM's so big, right?
All right, now, and I'm gonna, and I'm not gonna blame Jeff. So don't take this as a blaming Jeff, but I am gonna blame probably the trailer for those sagging springs.
Whatever.
Oh, that trailer is heavier than molybdenum.
I'm gonna blame 200,000 miles.
Fair.
So
Neglect is what we're
Moog
going to
heavy-duty springs that raised the rear about 1.5 inches. Bilstein 5100 shocks all around are in.
Which you said you were going to do anyway because Chrissy's mom liked a smooth ride.
She does. So got that in. I've adjusted the emergency brake because it was so bad that you stepped on the pedal and it went all the way to the floor, even though the adjustment was all the way taken in. So I've now adjusted the actual shoes within the disc in the back. So there's good.
That was my drive. That was 5 years of my driveway.
Yep. Got the brake fluid all flushed with nice, fresh, clean fluid. Actually, half of it was just the 8 cans of brake fluid Mental gave me. I just mixed those all in. So that was okay. What else did I do? I've got...
Well, because and we're burning pod, but we're burning pod to our listeners. So I can tell listeners, movers won't move anything that is a liquid or an aerosol. So, yeah. So Chris left with the bag of crap Mental can't take with him.
Yep.
Yes, he did.
I got
This is why I own oxyacetylene tanks, by the way.
That's okay.
Rika, move. Rika.
I got a header, new exhaust hanger on. I adjusted the front torsion bars up so it front matched the rear and get rid of the sagging in the torsion bars. Put in I fixed the driver's window, which turned out to be a motor, which was a little bit of a pain in the ass because the cables on the spool on the motor came undone, so I had to rewind it. So that was kind of a shame to figure that out and get that back together. But the driver's window now works, which it didn't for my 800-mile drive home.
Without air
air conditioning. Yep. I've replaced the blend door in the climate control system. I've replaced
Whoa. Okay, hold on. You've already replaced that blend door.
It took about 10 minutes.
Are you kidding me?
It was a $20 part.
Okay, because the air conditioning specialist that we took it to was quoting us like $800 in labor and said he was going to have to take the dash apart to do it, which is why it never got done.
Well, I replaced the actuator.
Oh, shaky dogs. Check that off your list.
Yep. The actuator is right on the bottom. Like you pull the panel off the bottom of the HVAC system in the inside of the car, which is 2 screws. And then there's the HVAC, the blend door actuator, which is 2 screws and 1 plug, and it comes right off, and you put the new one on. I don't know if it works yet because I don't have the new air conditioning belt or tensioner because Mental gave it to me with an air conditioning belt that was just broken and hanging off of the compressor. It's saying, I don't know why the AC doesn't work. So there's that.
Well, we think that's why the rear AC stopped working because that's how Vicky was driving it with the rear AC on.
So all that's left now is the windshield. Figure out why the airbag light is on, which I can't do until it runs again, but I need the spark plugs to come in, which are tomorrow, to plug those in to get it to run again. And then all the fluids, And then also the front steering was super, super janky. The idler and pitman arms were totally worn out. There was a ton of slop in the steering. So I've got new idler and pitman arms, but I don't want to put them on. So I'm going to punt on those and have a local shop do it and then have them align it. So that and fluids. And this is like a new truck at this point. So,
Well, a new 200,000 mile GM.
which works great, actually. Everything runs great. I can't believe it ran as well as it did with the potentially 200,000 mile spark plugs I pulled out of, because they were AC Delco branded NGKs, and the gap was so big you could fit the end of the spark plug that it arcs to. You could fit that in the gap on the other ones.
I think actually those are probably 100,000 mile plugs, because the dealer we bought that from had done all the service on it. They probably put AC Delcos in there when Tanya and her mom used to get it serviced. So really, I'm just lazy.
Hey, you know what? It ran pretty great actually for the plugs having a gap like as big as David Letterman's.
Let me ask you a question, because I'm not sure about this. When you buy a brand new car, when do you change the plugs? Because I have 160,000 miles of the plugs in the 3, and no thought about changing them
You're
at
at
all
least 60.
whatsoever.
You're at least 60 overdue. Even iridiums only last 100.
So do you
And
change them, or do you
they're
just
not
like?
hard? Yes.
Well, yeah.
Yes.
They're not hard at all.
They're not
Oh.
hard.
No.
I did them in like 10 minutes last.
Oh, I'm
They're not hard.
I'm
They're
sure
just
they're not hard.
lazy.
Well, Mazda on the non-Sky Active motors, Mazda specifies 75,000 miles.
Oh. Well, this is the Sky Active, so.
Oh, well, still should have done them at 100.
100,000
also-
is max. Yeah.
So the truck needs a bath. Snowflake needs a bath.
Oh yeah. Totally.
I'm annoyed about that, because it was clean.
Oh no.
And then
no.
Purple
This is-
Birds got
it needs
into it.
An inside bath.
Oh yeah, I have dogs. That's a
so-
dog hauler.
Oh yeah.
So I when I was power washing, which we'll get to, I power washed all of the floor mats because they were pretty gross. So we laid them out on the garage, on the driveway. We can hear you.
They're much better now.
Vicky's over here going, it's a janky car. It's a janky car. I know it was a janky car. And I'm like, yeah, we know that, honey. That's why they're saying it was a janky car.
Oh, they're not complaining.
Yeah, they're not
Oh, no.
complaining. They're not complaining at all.
Part of the way that you bond with a new vehicle is
You know what? That
Going
is
off
true. Like your initial de-jankification of anything you buy, even if you're never going to, give it any love again. Yeah, that's a bonding experience. You're right.
Thing is, I don't want to bond with this. I want it out of my damn driveway, but I want it fixed enough that Chrissy's mom doesn't ever tell me it's broken. That's what I want.
either way.
Right.
True.
Well, I'm going to jump on the power washing and move to my story. If you're
Yeah,
done, Chris.
I'm basically done. I ran a
You
5K.
you guys are because now Chrissy cut into Chris, but Chrissy was into her story, but it is Jeff's turn.
Right.
I don't know how this all
I'll
goes.
just say I ran a 5K,
yeah.
and I am not as fast as the fastest woman in the race that we did.
Okay,
but,
I
oh
run
well.
5Ks all the time. I'm never as fast as the fastest woman. Why would you think that you're as fast as the fastest woman?
Because usually I run right next to her.
Okay,
So-
Jeff, go
so-
ahead. What are you
So
doing?
wait a minute. Does the fastest woman have the same address as you?
We'll wait
Get
to
there.
her
So we'll talk about this soon. So Jeff, talk about your power washing.
Well, okay, so my wife thinks that things that she sees in the world are easy to do. So she said, "How come you never trim the lawn, string trim it? Weed whack?" And I'm like,
Yeah. How come?
Because it's a pain in the ass,
It is
and
absolutely
my
not.
weed whacker's terrible, and who cares? I
I would
don't care.
have given you a weed whacker too. You almost ended up.
If you buy a good
I have
weed
one.
whacker, it's
Yeah.
much better.
So
You almost ended up with a
she
new
said-
lawnmower.
If y'all shut up for a minute, you're burying my story. So she said, if you buy a weed whacker that I can start, I'll do the weed whacking every time you mow. I said, done. Battery operated weed whacker. Bam. So on Saturday, I was showing her how to use it and showing her where the battery goes and how to do it and everything. And then I pulled out the power washer because we had all the growth between the street and the curb. And I just blasted that out with the power washer. And then I power washed the house. And Jen goes, aren't you going to work on the car? And I said, yeah, well, Jim's coming over and I'm going to wait till he gets here. So then job just became job, just became job, just became job because my brother never showed up. And
Did he?
I
Probably
ended
because he
up-
had a flat tire. You know, if he's on his way to
Probably.
your place, he needs a tire changed.
So we did an epic garage cleaning weekend. It took 2 full days. We pulled everything out, including the stuff we haven't touched since moving in. We rearranged the workshop. Since I moved in 5 years ago, I inherited a workbench, a small Snap-on cabinet full of Snap-on tools, buckets of other stuff, a drill press, all from my grandfather who taught me how to wrench. So my garage had been like unusable. So
yes, it had.
I got rid of a ton of stuff. I threw out years of Grassroots Motorsports and Car and Driver magazines. I got the gas stove to the front so we can get it installed, and it's like a new place. I still have plenty to do. It's not done.
Is your garage usable?
Yes, that's my question.
What's usable? Working in it or parking a car in it?
Working in it.
Oh, working in it.
Yeah, working in it, definitely. Yeah. Totally.
Cool. Because it used to be just a tunnel.
Yeah, you can walk from the front door to the back door with your arms out and not
What?
touch things.
Okay, now we're talking. Okay, now
It used to be a meandering path, like careful where you step and don't touch that because it's holding up all those other things. And...
No. It's totally, you can actually get to everything. You can see everything. There are still some giant buckets that need to go through, and like race stuff needs to go in the trailer, and other stuff needs to go here, and stuff like that. But yeah, other than that, it's ready. It's done.
And also, once you start pressure washing, it's really hard to stop because then you keep
So
finding more
true.
things to
Well, that's
pressure
what
wash.
it is. I did.
Chrissy was slapping her arms when she did that when we were up there for the work weekend. Yeah, she was like, I need to power wash more, and I was goading her by pointing out how dirty the sidewalk in front of the house was.
No, I know. And I was like, no, I have to do everything. I was like, I actually said, and I can jump in if you're done, I'll jump into my story. But I was power washing this weekend too, and at some point I look up and back up at the house and say, Chris, we should just power wash the house. And Chris is like, I've done it before. We're not going to start it. And I'm like, but please.
I did two sides.
Okay,
I did the front and the terrible side.
And so the last time I power washed in the fall, I guess it was, I did the backyard or the back side of the house, which needed it, and that was great. But now I want to do the front of it, and because we have the part which has plaster out the front, I wanted to do that, and he said no. So someday we'll do.
Because I know how hard it is because you're standing on an extension ladder 25 feet in the air to do it, and it takes a while.
And it wants to push you off the ladder.
Yeah.
I mean, I just wanted to see the front of the house clean. I don't want to actually do it. But by then I was already filthy, soaking wet. And I was like, why not just keep power washing? That's really what it comes down to. All right. Anyway, so while Chris was flying and driving across the United States, I kept myself busy. I was washing and detailing cars. I also did some race prep I did some cooking, which I forgot to mention here. And then I also, on Sunday, power washed the BMW, which was so satisfying. We washed inside and outside. We did we drilled holes in the floor so we could wash all of the inside, which was pretty awesome.
Drainage is important.
Drainage, yeah. But really when we came back because of all the rain from at pit race, the car was really filthy. So we really cleaned it inside out. And
it was because I didn't power wash it, but I'd wiped down the inside at pit race when I was doing the windows.
Oh, that's gross.
So that's all pit race slime.
Absolutely.
Oh,
yeah, so that's why we cleaned it. And so then, and every night this week has been something. So last night, go ahead, Chris. Go ahead.
I almost forgot. I did a full nut and bolt on everything on the BMW and changed the oil too. So
that sounds kind of dirty.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so last night if you saw on Facebook or not, we decided to run a 5K. We really we were going to run a 5K. We were going to run more than a 5K because it's Wednesday. And we usually do a long run on Wednesday. So we were going to run anyway, but I said, okay, let's sign up for this. The benefit was for the library, which I am on the board. So I decided, well, we're just going to sign up for this. And then at our favorite restaurant, you get free beer and if you buy some food. So we said we're just going to get beer and dinner there, and that sounds great. So we ran it, and we did pretty well. We were definitely not the fastest we could run at all, but it was just kind of fine. It was faster than we would have run. And here when I decided to sprint the last couple tenths, just because, and I wanted to get in front of this guy. So we were sprinting, and I was over the finish line, and this lady was like, "Oh, first lady across, congratulations!" And I was like, "Wait, what?" So I won for the ladies division.
Proper.
I won't even tell.
Nice.
Won't even tell you how far back from the first man, who was like, 5 minutes or something stupid. It was a little bit more than that, but it was still really far away. But it really, this was just a casual Wednesday night run for us. So we did pretty well. Yes.
Chris mentioned that he was not as fast as the fastest woman, so he was behind you. Did you ditch him? Did you be like, "I'm going fast," and he was like, "Yeah, see ya"?
Only in the last
2 tenths.
2 tenths.
Minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I sprinted the rest of it.
Or did he try and keep up and not able to keep up?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Both.
If you're trying to get at, I am faster. If that's what you're trying to get at.
I'm trying to decide if he just said, "Nah, I ain't trying," or if he tried.
He did try.
I tried pretty well, but she's still faster. Wow.
I just do like a little bit of taunting. She throws up the 2 fingers. Deuces, loser. I'm out.
I mean, I didn't have the deuces, but I did that anyway. So I just ran away, and I was like, "Yeah, I gotta go." So anyway, yeah, cool. I won the ladies. That was awesome.
Did you get a medal or a T-shirt? Nice.
I got a medal and some money, which was random.
Whoa,
and,
money!
And a free beer and a fantastic dinner. So it was awesome.
Yeah,
so what a
night.
great Wednesday night. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I'm working on. But I have a message from my mother. Chrissy's mom says, "Mental, thank you for Snowflake." And she said to everybody,
Vicky's right here. Vicky, Chrissy's mom says thank you for her truck.
"Thank you for Snowflake."
It's not mine. Well, it's mine to do. It was ours.
She says you're welcome.
Okay. And then she said to everybody else, "Happy Memorial Day. Don't drink too much, and don't forget your sunscreen." So that's for my mother.
Let's just say hi to Chrissy's mom right now, since it's
Do
here.
that.
Hi, Chrissy's mom.
Hello, Chrissy.
Thanks for the encouragement.
Okay, Mental. What you working on?
We're all giggling because we know what Mental's been doing.
Right.
If you've been following us on Instagram.
Don't tell us here.
Yes. And so, obviously I'm moving. Thursday and Friday of last week were packing and moving days. And then everything that wasn't packed got thrown into the RV. And we then Friday was actually my last day working at Atlanta Motorsports Park. Thursday night, I got a call from the Trevor, the Motorsports manager. And he said, "Hey, could you just work this event for me?" It was a member appreciation event. And what they did is they fired up the skid pad, and then they wanted an autocross, and members could come bring their own cars. And then they had the track open, and they were doing it in a pursuit format. So they would send a rabbit out, and then one of the members could go out there and see if they could catch him. And that was a lot of fun. And I had not done an autocross since 2014. I had not set up an autocross in easily 10 years. But I set this one up, and I was mean about it. So I set up an evenly paced set of slaloms and then a 180 turn to get them pointed back in the opposite direction. And I set gates up, and I counted them off one step shorter every time. So it went 13, 12, 11, 10, 9. And at 9, I realized that the car almost physically couldn't make it through. Then I set up a keyhole box and then had them stop in a box. And it was actually really funny. And the owner of Discovery Parts, right up until the last 20 minutes we were running, had the fastest time in his Nissan Leaf.
Nice.
And he
Awesome.
and he was working it too. Yeah, exactly. As he would come out of the last bit, we had just an acceleration lane, and you had to stop precisely in a stop box without knocking over the cones. And he was smoking the tires, the 500 treadwears, all seasons, as he came out of that final 180, and he was getting cheers from everybody up on the balcony at Atlanta Motorsports Park. It was actually a lot of fun. So that was the last time I did that, and then I literally hopped in the truck, drove, fed the dogs, and picked Chris up at the airport. And then for folks that are listening in the Atlanta area, I took him to the Vortex down in Little Five Points. So that was why it was the weird part of town. And Chris walked in and said, "I don't feel like I'm cool enough to be in here." And I offered him my glasses so he would, fit in. But It didn't work, but it worked out well, and it was a good burger. And I'm gonna miss the Vortex. Actually a good time, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm not really hungry, but I'm gonna eat all of this." And so that was why we got in so late, and then we all turned around. Saturday, I drove up to Asheville to see my brother before we headed out. We had rented a car because, well, we sold ours, and the other one was loaded up and full of crap, and Vicky just didn't want to ride in the Volvo all the way to Asheville. So Vicky had rented I think we got an intermediate, like Volkswagen Jetta or similar. She shows up at the rental counter, and their computer system had hiccuped sometime over the night, and there were 9 reservations that they didn't have cars for, and this poor guy had to show up at 8 o'clock in the morning and realize that he had to call everyone and tell them that their cars weren't ready and all of this horrible stuff. And of course everyone's yelling at him and calling him names, and Vicky's just standing there being Vicky, and he's kind of chuckling because our car actually wasn't, it was supposed to be back at 8, it wasn't back yet, and it was going to come in at 11, and she's like, it's fine, no problem, don't worry about it. And they're talking. They had the new Ford Transits, the 150 Transits, and he said,
Yeah,
"Well, he said, well, no, well, the full size
Still
van,
a full size van.
Yeah, but the Turkish built ones.
Yeah,
And
no, the little ones are the Turkish built, which are the Transit Connects, which are 4-cylinder front drive little mini things.
Yes. These things are like
the actual Transits are the replacement for the Econoline.
Right, and they're still European based. But anyway, so and he said, "Well, I could give you a van," and she said, "Honestly, if that's what you got, I'll take it. But is it longer than a Suburban? Because I'm used to driving a Suburban." And he kind of looks up and says, "Do you want a Suburban?" And she said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, I had a cancellation. I've got a 2019 Suburban out there." And she goes, "Well, I can't really afford that." He goes, No. I'll give it to you for the rate for the intermediate car, which was like $80 for the weekend. So Vicky was tooling around in a 2019 Suburban, and it's mechanically the same truck. They've made a few upgrades, and I think the transmission's a little bit better. But God, that's just a good truck. And we drove that to Asheville, North Carolina. It was great. Almost got 19 miles per gallon in that one.
Was that like a 5.3?
Yeah, they're all
5.3. Yeah, the 5.3 supposedly gets excellent mileage.
Yeah.
Up there in the 6-liter.
Yes, for sure. 8.1.
So enough, I guess we've burned too much crap with me talking about rental cars. We should probably move on to news and notes time.
It's a little old because it was last Monday the 20th, but Formula One legend Niki Lauda died at the age of 70. If you don't know, he's Formula One Drivers' Champion, 75, 77 with Ferrari, 84 with McLaren. 8 months ago, he underwent a lung transplant, and fire didn't kill him, crashes didn't kill him, but I guess
James Hunt didn't kill him.
Yeah. If you've ever watched, was that Formula One movie Rush? Yeah, he's that guy. So even if you know nothing about Formula One, pour out some, I don't know, synthetic. What do they put in Formula One? No idea. Oil.
Unicorn tears.
Pour some out.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Okay. I guess I'll go.
The dog says yes.
Yes. Indy is this weekend. So I am going to come back with women in motorsports because we've got a woman running in Indy, and I am super excited about it. So Pippa Mann made the Indy qualifying. So her first and only run qualifying set her towards the back of the field. She made it. Last year she didn't qualify. I was watching her Facebook all year, and she is training and like all kinds of workouts and all the stuff that she did to make herself better. And she's in a different car this year. So she's 35, which I was like, oh, that's how old I am. I guess I'm not going to be.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you feeling old?
No, I'm just disappointed that she's at Indy and I'm not. And
that's because you're not driving. That's because you're not driving aggressively enough at track days when the Formula One scouts are there.
That's true.
You need to be flat out. That's how you drive all the time. I did see it. There was some concern about her getting bumped because the guy.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
Come on. What? Do you read the notes?
Yeah.
So you can check off someone skips over Chrissy.
No, I was adding to Chrissy. Keep talking.
Don't
I had
add
something.
to my story. I did all this research for it. Okay, so she is in the Clausen Marshall Racing Drive-In to Save Lives. She qualified at a 12:27 in the afternoon with a 4-lap average of 207.24 miles an hour. 227. That's a lot.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. I just feel like, okay, that's fine. Do you have something in the middle of this?
No, I'll get to the end of it.
Well,
Okay,
I was
okay,
gonna, they were saying that the guys last year would have gotten bumped with it as fast as everybody's running this year.
Yes. So the average put her in 17th position at the time. Track got colder, cars got faster. So she went early, and everybody else after her went. The track got better, and so that's why she was really close to getting bumped. So she went the place that she got locked in. Then she almost got bumped out because everybody was going faster than her. So I didn't realize how that worked, and I can only imagine standing there. You can't do anything about it because you've done what you could, but everybody else is getting faster.
And that time
if you're gonna get bumped or not.
Yeah, and that time she qualified would have put her like 8th last year, like now. Like, after everything, so the whole field's gotten really, really fast. The fact that she's still in shows that she has really put in the work.
Chrissy, don't feel bad about not qualifying for the Indy 500. Neither did McLaren and Fernando Alonso.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes, the fact
that's
that
been the
Alonso's
big
not in
story.
is yes,
all
right.
week long.
I know. I'm so excited, and I'm going to make the time to watch. I don't even know what we have planned for Sunday, but I'm going to make the time because I want to see. See it.
Ooh, this goes right into what I put up. This is the best day in motorsports this Sunday. 9 a.m.
Are those East Coast times? Because you're going to have to start qualifying that.
I believe so. These are East Coast times.
That's all we care about, actually. So you
noon,
just have to
noon on Sunday, the Indy 500 on NBC. 6 o'clock, the Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Coca-Cola 600 in Fox. 2 out of 3 of them are very interesting.
And there's also other things like Formula
so many
and there's
German touring car
racing. There's
German touring car. Yeah.
Belgium.
British touring cars. Like you've got all kinds of stuff.
Oh, good. We can watch the replay at 7:30 to 11 for Indy.
So
good.
So Vicky,
I don't want to watch all of it because they just go around in circles.
So Vicky's on a bunch of Facebook groups about what's cool in Las Vegas, and I asked her to put up there, where's the best place to watch the Indy 500? And got a lot of really good suggestions. One of the first responses, this place called The Garage. And Vicky, being Vicky, immediately goes and researches it. It's a gay bar. But there is it's a booking bar because it's Las Vegas. And they're like, oh yeah, they'll have 3 televisions on this watching the Indy 500 and redoing the odds. So that's my plan on Sunday, is to plant myself early in the morning in this bar and just watch all of this.
Cool.
Nice.
And speaking of racing, Lucky Dog is going to be at Utah's Motorsports Campus this weekend too for the Salty Dog Sprint Duro. It's all part of the track's 3rd annual Cruiser Palooza event. There's a car show, there's music, food trucks, go-karting till midnight. What? Burnout contest, swap meet, vendors, kids zone. Yep. Spectators are free, family fun for everybody. It's a tournament format. They're running 3 different track configurations, full east and west. 4 different race lengths with enduro, mini enduro, and sprints. You get points by class for your finishing order for each of the races. So who knows who's going to win, because there's so many ways you could do this. 24 hours of total track time, including Friday's test day. This sounds like a fantastic event, and I've heard Utah Motorsports Campus is a wonderful, wonderful track. Even I think Spank told me, it's like you'd accidentally drop a piece of paper, and someone, like before you could turn around to pick it up, someone was coming behind you with a brush and dustpan and had already picked it up for you.
Yes.
So, that kind of place. And don't forget, Dog Stock Jamboree, August 9th through 11th at Shasta Lake Resort. It's like a race, but without the cars. It's all the fun part of talking to people and eating food and doing that stuff, and with water sports. So that's fun. So do that. Go register. They're nice people.
Nice. AER was at NJMP last weekend. Saturday saw Random Vandals Racing take the first, with Rogue Racing and Stoner Car Care 3 laps back, and Hitman Racing 5 laps back for the top spot on Saturday. Sunday, it was Blue Bayou Racing, who also set FTD. They've won a bunch of AER races this season. The FTD was 128.947 on Thunderbolt. 4 laps back was Rogue Racing Stoner Car Care. Well-rounded out the podium was the leader. Then Matt Connolly, who has the great name of his team, was 7th on Saturday. 5th on Saturday, but 2nd in class both days. Don't Panic, Keystone Cops, and Car Dorks were 21, 22, and 23, while Rally Baby was 23rd on Sunday. Car Dorks was
32nd.
7th.
They were 32nd.
Sorry, 32nd. I'm watching you all type. And I'm telling you, I have something to say about that block down there, so stop typing. Sunday, Car Dorks was 7th. Keystone and Rally Baby were 23 and 24. AutoWorks took 1st in class on Saturday and 2nd on Sunday. And I just wanted to mention that AER might still be having some trouble filling up their car counts, as they have been spamming every single Facebook group on the planet trying to get people to sign up for VIR. So I don't know what their car count is. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what weekend that is, but I can say that everywhere out there, they are just begging for people to sign up for AER. So I don't know.
And on a different note, Lemons, it was actually turned some of our friends away because they were full. Saying about these 2 race series. Anyway,
for dong track too. It's not even a good
seriously. Okay, so we're moving on.
It's VIR. New Jersey or win. So
yeah, whatever. So
What?
it's not what?
VIR is the one they're having trouble filling.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, but I'm saying you should be able to fill VIR.
Yeah,
races.
it's because it's VIR. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Where
Except
if you are filling the dong track in New Jersey that no one actually likes and having a wait list and turning people away, then obviously something's going better.
And we already know it's going to be
Right.
crappy parking.
okay, stop interrupting me. Okay, Santiago was at the Southern Ohio Forest Rally in Chillicothe. According to his Instagram, what? You gotta love the Everyone Racer bump. And yes, you do, because he won limited 2-wheel drive. Way to go. What? That's awesome.
I know,
Let's see if
right?
I can play something on the trombone. Triumphant.
Oh, that was pretty good.
That was very triumphant. I feel motivated. That was great.
No idea what's
There you go, Sam. That's awesome. Highlights include the Whitmiller E30 ripping a brake line and pulling a page from our Rolls-Royce handbook just at clamping off the line. Oh, that's always good.
Nice.
Except our Rolls had many other lines to be able to work with. Anyway, there's some timing protests, but Santiago said my awesome driver RJ made sure we got our time back. More drives, 28 cars could not finish, and that included all of the fast and top cars but the end result was the normally aspirated boring Subaru. It took the overall. He mentions that a Honda Passport built by the HPD crew was stock except for their safety items. Congrats.
Cool.
That's got to be pretty cool. Ripping around in the woods with a bone stock Honda Passport.
Yeah, Honda's been doing some cool stuff like that. They've got that minivan that's going back. It's doing the Grid Lifetime Attack this year, and it's also been done by the HPD folks. So
Hey,
cool.
they support grassroots racers. Like I've got the HPD subscription; it was really easy to get, and that full access to their tech library has been hugely valuable when you're doing weird things with their cars. So, plus you get all the parts at jobber prices.
yeah, absolutely. So we've got some upcoming. What you got, Jeff?
I was going to say, if you all could rally a Honda and you had the entire catalog to pull from, what would you pick?
Ooh.
I think Passport sounds like a terrible choice. Like, I think I'd rather an old Element. I think that might even rally better.
I'd say an HRV.
Elements had weird chassis flex issues. I'm going to say an EK Civic with a K swap from a CRV and all-wheel drive.
Duh.
I'm talking about
Duh.
HRV. I think the HRV would be fun.
Okay.
I'd go a CRV because it's K swap, all-wheel drive, decent suspension, good travel, a lot
CRV
of power, manual transmission, much stiffer chassis in the Element.
I see. We're all wrong. We should all do it in a new NSX.
True. Upcoming races. Who's got one?
So, Champ Car's going to be at the Glen this weekend. 109 cars. 32 of those are BMWs. Boring. 12 Miatas, 17 Hondas, 7 P cars, and a PT Cruiser Turbo.
Nice. And the good cars, Baltimoreans, they've been up front before. We like them a lot. Matt Connolly Motorsports, and somehow Team Saline, I don't know how you say it. They're the hot dog guys who are pro racers. They have 2011 came in and made the points cut somehow. Hey, because they're pros and they said they could. We're guessing they're outlaw class running for track time. Salem also has Mustard, Ketchup, Charcoal, trio of RX-7s, and there's the Biohazard MR2s that Bill Strong likes.
Awesome. Tuttle Motorsports has their non-DSM powered DSM that's usually finishes well, or they blow up because it still has some DSM in it. And there's a 97 Neon not campaigned by John Artman. That's pretty cool. And that PT Cruiser, so much is bad as awesome. Dead Pedal is back with their Maserati bi-turbo that finished very strongly. What was that, like 3-4 months ago, right?
Yeah. Cool.
So, all right. So I've got some funny ones. Team Sticky Lifters. And
we got that.
I know we do. Appropriately. I don't even know what kind of car they're in. Team Tidy Whitey, because Tidy Whiteys are always funny. And the World Class Motorsports Livers. What's going on?
Well, I'm adjusting my computer. Keep going.
Okay. There's another one called Huge Ass. It's Jazz. That's
Huge Ass.
Huge Ass. Okay.
Hello, Mr. Jazz.
Racers. Dipstick Racers, a delightful pun on John Player Special. And finally, Wilson Daily Racing. Your name's boring. I was like, what? Your name's boring.
Almost as boring as Matt Connolly Motorsports.
Yeah, we'd already had the Matt Connolly joke.
For that one.
Yep.
I know.
So, Lemons is also at Thunderhill, and our host number 5 has gotten us the entries list, and it is also big, but we're going to do our best. 106 cars, 18 of those are BMWs. Boring. 10 Miatas, 8 Hondas, 5 P cars, and an IS300, so check off that $500 car my ass on your bingo card.
Yeah, I buy it. I see enough of them on Craigslist for sub 3,000 that I bet you find a salvage title one that's rough and doesn't pass smog in California, and you sell a couple weird things off it, and then you can open the hood still and go, 2JZ, no shit.
I just figured all of the really cheap ones with the running 2JZs are probably yerked for someone to put it into something better.
Or someone drifted it into something, the quarter panel's all screwed up. And that's why you buy it, right? Anyway, lots of good stuff, as always, on the West Coast. Bernal Dads and Tetanus Onset both rocking Volvos. Except Tetanus Onset's is much cooler. It's a Volvo 544 car. It's amazing. Petty Cash and Cerveza, Hellish Shitty, all are going to do well. From Eric, he said the Sopranos Toyota Corona now has a Supra engine. That's a 67 Corona. Like Toyota's first car here.
Wow, really?
So that's cool. Yep. That's a car was supposed to be at Sonoma last year, but literally a tree fell on the garage when they were working on it. So minor setback. There are a lot of veteran teams out there that are going to do well too.
Yeah, Eric Rude actually gave me a whole list of veteran cars because I thought this was pretty cool and pretty impressive. He thinks it is the 47th Lemons race for Eyesore's Miata. And they've run probably 5 or 10 in another series. So easily the crap can with the most miles on it on the planet right now.
Yeah, totally.
That's crazy. Tired Iron Racing will be there with number 40 in their Miata. Black Flags have 39 races on their 83 Supra. That's a lot.
Yeah.
40 in the Miata and 39 in the Supra. 83 Supra. Dang. So anyway, Road Race Jones replaced their chassis, but their 2 Sentras will be on race number 41. 302 powered Hit and Run RX-7 team are on race number 40. Granted, different chassis. And Jem Vesti's car, boring BMW, used to be the Caffeine Unlimited car. It ran in the shit show Reno Fernie race in 2009, exactly 10 years ago this week.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fun list.
That was good.
Okay, so I got some funny ones. funny ones. The Daewoo Tang clan.
Love that
Daewoo
name.
Tang clan. Yep, in a Daewoo Laganza. The Blue Man Coupe in a Porsche 944, as well as the Motorfokker race Motorsports, which I think they've been around before. Whose great idea was this? Yet another shitty E30. That's awesome. Yet another shitty E30. No hella shit anymore. Sorry. Jay Leno crashed my Hyundai. Sponsored by Gecko. There's more. Run what you brung until you get caught, because you know damn well you've been cheating. That's all one.
That's
I think.
all one team.
That's all one team.
Oh, okay. B team, just plain stupid. You mad, bro? All one word. Safety for third. I'll be back in their Kim Jong Elantra. And personal note: Cramp Can mixtape date club. Not running a Corrado, but a Beetle. Interesting.
Oh, Beetle. I don't know what's worse, Beetle or Corrado.
Beetle's been done,
Doesn't matter. It's still terrible.
Yeah,
fair enough. On the subject of cars that aren't terrible, supercars, racetracks, glory. Folks, you know the drill. We talk about it every week. It's a fleet of high horsepower supercars normally reserved for pop stars and overpaid athletes. Tracks that sometimes you have only read about. Dreamy, blue-eyed instructors like Chris. Hilarious and smart ones like Jeff. Or, sometimes I'm there. Extreme experience. Folks, they've got a bunch of locations coming up near us, but maybe it'd be more fun to go someplace different. They're going to be at New Hampshire at the end of this month, and then Pittsburgh and Pocono at the same time. Catch them at the Motor City, June 14th through the 16th. You know what? I'll tell you what. Just head over to xxspeed.com, pick the track, pick the car, wrap it all up, and type it in the code EveryoneRacers, and you're going to get 25% off, and that even works at their permanent location down in New Orleans. Extreme experience. It's your turn.
Is there a baby in the back?
Yeah,
saying,
who was that?
Did you have a child, Mental?
No, Vicky's watching movies on her phone. She just realized, oh my God, they can hear it. She turned around. What?
Oh, we can hear that.
That's what happens when I get the
Okay.
good microphone out.
Okay, so I posted a picture this weekend of power washing the BMW. So if we have to return it, we'll make it cleaner than when we got it. So I asked the internet what they're working on, and we got some awesome responses. So Dr. Florida Man Dunny said, just having a typical Florida day. Picked up one owner Buick Roadmaster that's been off the road for 5 years at a very low price from a dead guy. Then I got some ice cream. And he showed a picture in his rear view of the towing the car. It's awesome. Bobbin, I just put all of her name together. Was doing an oil change, tire rotation, taillight bulb replacement on the Camry. Tow bag is next, and that was just a picture of Uncle Dave doing some of that work. In the picture of me washing the BMW, Bruce said, I guess I had the wrong crew to take care of my car.
Totally.
I came back filthy. I'm power washing the house.
And it didn't run.
Right. So
He got mad at me when I dropped it off. He's like, I thought you were going to wash it. Chrissy washed the BMW. No.
I didn't know that. I didn't even think about that was going to start a fight. I was like, well, borrowed car, we should wash it. And then, of course, when Chris was going to work on it, we decided we should just wash it. So I apologize, Bruce. So Aaron said he helped out a buddy get to Victory Lane yesterday, today, pizza. And he helped Neil Rutt's family for a win. Phil Ellinger was running their 44-year-old AMC alongside $200,000 quote-unquote real race cars and JMP. They had the
Phil.
burn it
Way to
out
go.
there.
Good, Phil.
I don't think it did so well, or they only ran it in testing or something like that. But and then Ron was doing a rear main seal, getting ready for the Dong track.
Awesome.
Ooh.
Chris Egan, along with
Wait. I'm sorry. Which Chris Egan?
young Chris Egan.
Oh, okay.
If I say Chris Egan, you can check it off.
It counts. Yeah.
Same guy. So
Yeah. Chris Egan, not only was he discussing Game of Thrones with me on the internet all week long, but he was diving into his ECU stuff for his Saab. He's trying to get that thing to run, I guess. He says his bench cables work, but the ODB adapter does not. So he couldn't pull the files from the race car for cloning onto a spare ECU. So that thing looks stock, but he's got something special going on in the software there. From the Garage Heroes gave us an update, and here's what they said they're working on. They called it Divide and Conquer. Alan is working on the Capri. Maybe. Showed a picture of the axle. Bill is on the spider
Alan texted me questions today on stuff. He sent me pictures of the fuel cell and said, so I've got a feed and a vent. I guess I need a return. How do I do that? So, all right, well, we got to pull the plate off and drill a hole and put a bulkhead and run the lines. He's like, okay, great. And while I'm looking at the picture, I notice the fill on the Capri cell that Prompt Critical put on. It's a plumbing PVC black rubber.
Yeah. Don't
like
do that.
No, like the $4 2-inch PVC black like rubber hose clampy thing. And I said, Alan, that's like a hardware store thing. That has no business being there. He said, oh, yeah, okay, I'll take care of that. So
now, do we think Prompt Critical put that on there, or do we think Alan put that on there?
No, I think Prompt Critical put that in there because I don't think they have touched that in the one. That was their first race when they ran the Capri. I don't think they touched a damn thing on that. So
I'm just saying, Alan has touched it a lot.
Not the cell. That's just going
all
it.
right.
Yeah,
And
he's
again,
doing a fun thing too. He cut the trans tunnel and part of the firewall out of the Camaro and cut a similar thing out of the Capri to get the tunnel big enough to fit the
I
Camaro.
saw that. I already saw him saying that.
Oh yeah. Anyway.
Bill was working on the Spider Stang, so I'm sure nothing got fixed there, or at least nothing got fixed right.
That car is so broken.
Very. Liam and Vicky were working on the Ombre brake repairs. I'm not scared because I'm not driving it. They also were working on the control arms and cooling. NGMP is coming fast, and they know it.
Yep.
I was actually just on that show, and they were talking about that it's Alan still being Alan. They're falling into the trap of now they're making slight modifications, and those modifications never exist in a vacuum. So they put that front end arrow on there, and that's when they started realizing, oh, our brakes are starting to overheat. And, so now they're starting to see the second and third order effects of the modifications that they're making to the car.
Yeah.
And Alan is like, this is great.
For 8 years, we ran those brakes on that truck or a variant of and never, ever had a brake problem.
We had a boat on it and never overheated.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
It's part of the joy. It's part of the joy of this is what you do in a race car. Oh, I'll bolt the turbo on. I will quickly take the turbo off because it just made the car overheat and run crappy. Now I will properly bolt the turbo on, and now I will rebuild my blowed up engine. And now I'll rebuild my next blowed up engine. And now I'm done with blowed up engines, and I will put a real horsepower.
That's Chris's life in a nutshell right there.
You missed the redesign the cooling system.
Oh, yes.
And then redesign the aero package. And then, yeah.
Okay, let's stop rehashing.
Did Mental say blown motor in that series? If he did, I got bingo.
I said blowed up, which is close enough, but yes.
I got blown motor. I got NSX. Somebody suggested it for the rally.
Yep.
Mental tells a story that goes nowhere. That's kind of like the free space. Jeff's lovely and beautiful wife, Jen, who is doing the weed whacking, and sarcasm, because that is the free space.
Wow.
I was only myself talking about insurance away from bingo for a while now, and I was like, damn, how can I fit that in?
I have two. I'm almost to 2 bingos. We'll see. We'll see.
All right.
And on a side note, watching Chrissy do main topic time is actually even more fun than hearing her do this main topic time, because she used to get onto us for doing this, and now she's even more enthusiastic about it.
Well, I just want to keep moving. All right. Okay, let's go.
Speaking of keeping moving, today's topic is the road trip. Just keep moving.
Keep the doggies rolling.
Keep on moving along. Anyway, it's more
That's terrible.
It was so bad.
The reason we're doing this is because it's more than just about Mental and Chris's trips. let's talk about what makes a great road trip, and everyone can talk about this because we've all been on road trips. But first, I want to open with a philosophical statement. Hold on a minute, let me clear my throat. Okay. There are two kinds of road: the trip and the I'm going to see and do things road trip. An adventure road trip is like the Babe Rally or the Lemons Rally, where it's just about getting there. Pain is important. Getting there without breaking down is not going to happen. Like, that's road trip type A. And then there's also road trip type B, which is the kind where you and the family get in your car and you're actually trying to like do something, like move across the country or see the antiques in southern New England and anything like that. So which ones are we talking about? Make sure you mention if your tip or trick is specific. Make sure. Chris, go ahead.
I think there's a type C, which is
okay. I'm ready.
bonsai, never like going as fast as you can, stopping only to pee and eat and go, where you see nothing except the interstate and truck stops.
Oh,
yes. Because I was going to say, because sometimes you just have to get someplace.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, are we talking about those kinds? Probably.
Well, there can be tips to make those go better too. So.
Yeah, I used to. Yeah,
So,
I remember when I lived or I was working in Mississippi, and I used to come home to Atlanta every other weekend.
Wait. Mental.
Yes.
I already checked off. Mental tells a story that doesn't go anywhere.
This goes to place. But I remember I used to time, because it was, if I did it right, I could make one gas stop, put the pump in the car, have it filling up, run inside, pee, grab my next drink, be back out just in time as the pump was done, and you could make this trip in a really, really, in a fast time. But then I got a Honda Civic, and I had a really hard time trying to hold my bladder as long as that tank would hold out. And they were just some very painful experiences, but that's the key to a bonsai road trip, is you minimize your stops.
Yeah.
Just like an endurance race.
Mm-hmm.
You're not rolling, you're not winning.
Yes.
So, all right,
Yep.
Mental, do you want to give some stories on your trip, since that's how we're going to start it, and then we'll get to the roundy topics?
Sure. So currently, if you listen to this podcast, you know that the wife and I are moving to Las Vegas, and we are doing so in our RV while towing the mighty Volvo wagon in the janky-ass half magic trailer.
Hold on a minute. I got to tear up for a minute. Oh, what an idiot. I can't believe he still has that janky-ass trailer. Okay, go ahead.
Correct. So, and we deliberately made it a point of, I did not want this to be a bonsai trip. Bonsai trips, I would think, and Chris, you can disagree with me on this one. I think those are best done solo.
Oh, yeah.
If you're doing a bonsai trip with a partner, they better be of a like mindset. Otherwise, that's just a miserable, unhappy trip. So
I agree on the like mindset. I disagree on necessarily needing to be solo. Like Chrissy and I have done lots of bonsai trips, and we are on the same page, and
Fair.
It happens.
Yes.
Great.
So, but this one, I've made a similar drive to Las Vegas before, and it can be done in a couple days. But why? And so we deliberately built in a lot of flexibility. Actually, tonight we were supposed to be at Lake Havasu, but last night we stayed up too late and decided, screw it. We're going to sleep in today, and then what's halfway between? Flagstaff. Yeah, it'll be lovely. Incidentally, it's 40 degrees here right now. They just had snow.
I was going to say, on my Facebook feed, people in Flagstaff are talking about snow.
Yeah, it's going to be 28 degrees here tonight.
I love Flagstaff. Flagstaff, if you don't know, if you've never been there, is like, excuse me, not to sneeze. Flagstaff is really high, like higher than Denver high. So it is gorgeous, and it is cool, and it is lovely, and one of my favorite places in the Southwest.
Yeah. So yeah,
cool.
So we're driving across, and if you've never done this, folks, you really kind of owe it to yourself. And Chris, you've lived out here, and Jeff, you've been out here. You forget how big this nation of ours is. It is a very vast country, the likes of which, and it's kind of hard to wrap your head around. And I remember having these conversations when I was working with people from different countries, and they could never always kind of understand a country that you couldn't be across in a day. And much less just the geographic and environmental diversity that you find driving across. And it's Last night we were in, the night before, Wednesday or Tuesday night we were in Oklahoma. I got to meet up with all my Okie buddies. Then we made it to New Mexico, and now we're in Arizona. And tomorrow we'll be in Las Vegas, and it's just, we'll talk more about it, with the exception of the first day, which I think, am I doing just a tip on that, or do I tell that story now, Chrissy?
Yeah, you tell that now.
Yeah,
Jeff's,
tell it now.
Jeff's
Yeah.
got the tip.
He can do it to just a tip if he wants to. I'm all right.
It's all good.
But do it now. Do it now because I think it's most interesting.
Driving down the road, got the RV, and the RV, with the exception of things I've broken on it, has proven to be quite reliable for the 30,000 miles that it turned today driving. But somewhere on the road from Atlanta to Alabama, we hit something that tucked the exhaust up underneath the RV. And RVs are basically built on box truck chassis, so it's all space underneath there. And when it tucked the exhaust up under there, that exhaust had nowhere to go. So it began to melt one of the plastic storage compartments underneath the RV.
Like the exhaust tip turned into the
whole pipe.
Or like the whole
pipe got crammed up underneath it.
Okay.
And it began to melt the storage box. Inside that storage box was a leaf blower and an extension cord and an easy up awning that I've had forever. And that's actually where that lives. And the leaf blower is just really good at campsites when you want to blow off your concrete pad.
Sure.
My brother had given me, he's got these little Beanie Baby goats, and he gave me one of these Beanie Baby goats, and he wants this goat to go across country. She's got her own Instagram now. She's called Race Cabra, if you want to follow that. And Vicky had tried to get a picture as we were coming across the Alabama line of the Welcome to Alabama sign. She couldn't get it on her phone fast enough, and it was blurry. So we stopped at the rest stop, and this is 50 miles after our last fuel stop. We go, we take the dogs out, we get a good proper picture in front of an Alabama sign, and I walk out and I notice something is like hanging out from underneath the RV. It is now my completely flattened and melted leaf blower. And that's when I noticed the exhaust has completely melted the box. I reach up, I get the load leveler prying handle to get the hitch on there. Pry the exhaust pipe, falls right down, and haven't had a problem with it since. But I had to pull that entire storage box off. It was still hot and melty while I was doing it, and we kept all of it. I had to send all those pictures to the insurance company, who hopefully handles this better than your insurance company.
Oh, yes, totally. So what were the chances if you didn't have this baby goat picture Alabama sign thing that the whole mother would have burnt down?
I'm going to go with 100%. If we'd have gone, because we just filled up, and this thing will go 300 miles, even towing a trailer and getting 7 miles per gallon. It'll go 100 miles or 300 miles on a tank, and we would have driven it till it ran out of gas. And in this case, we would have driven it until it caught on fire, because there was no indication it was all underneath the RV. So I've got no smoke or anything coming out that I could see in the mirrors, and nothing in the rear view camera. And even more so, if I'd had a gas leaf blower, that would have been a kaboom
That'd have
moment.
been done.
Yeah. So we make this joke a lot, but God loves fools, drunks, in the military.
Which
Good
one
thing
are
you're
you?
all three.
Exactly. Yeah. So yeah.
All right.
So I was going to say, anything else that you want to talk about the trip? I mean, you're in the best part of town. You've seen your friends. You've seen your.
Yeah. So we're deliberately taking our time on this one. Vicky was very apprehensive about spending 5 days in a confined space with me and the dogs. But,
not a surprise.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't really blame her.
Yeah, she's been with me for 20 years. There's precedent. But we've been stopping, we've been having meals, we've been having fun. Chrissy's got some good points to point out about that. Vicky's done an excellent job of providing snacks. We've got a nice cooler here between the driver's seat that the dogs are sleeping on, and then we kick the dogs off when we want our snacks. We've been stopping at all the goofy roadside attraction nonsense, and we've been staying at really nice RV parks. There was this one. There was the Route 66 Casino just outside of Albuquerque, and the Twin Fountains in Oklahoma City. Twin Fountains is gorgeous. That was really nice. So,
awesome.
And then today, as we started texting about how's the show going to work, you happened to catch us as Vicky and I were standing on a corner in Winslow, Arizona. It was actually such a really fine sight to see, because there was, in fact, a flatbed Ford.
I think that flatbed Ford like sits there all the time
Yeah.
because
It's a
Just
park.
for that.
It's actually a state that, or like a city park that they made because there was a bar there that burned down that they turned into a park.
It's about right.
nice,
Chrissy,
awesome.
you have important stuff, and it's actually very important stuff.
Oh, I don't. I was just answering the
what?
questions because we were what?
Well, what's our next question?
Well, no, just the good co-pilot thing.
Oh.
Well, the
Oh,
question.
this is the. Go ahead.
So the question was, we're talking about what makes a good road trip, and I added good co-pilot. I think that's what makes a good road trip. Is it having somebody either figuring out where we need to go, or somebody there to talk to, or when you are done with the podcast, you can't look at your phone because you don't want to text and drive, so somebody else to do it. And if you get tired, hopefully the other person is a good poker, and that's what makes him a good co-pilot, not just having somebody in the front seat that just sleeps the whole time or something like that. If you are engaged, which is, sometimes that's necessary, especially if you are on the, what did you call it?
Bonsai trip.
Bonsai.
Right. So if somebody has to sleep, then okay. But if you are a good, or and then there's sometimes you just want to take a nap. That's fine. If it's nighttime, I think a good co-pilot stays up with you. So that was my suggestion.
Yeah, totally.
Snacks.
Well, Mental already took that, so I'm out.
Well, but I credited you with it.
Let's move on to the next section. Destination. What makes a good destination? Should we go around the horn?
Yes.
Yeah. Do it.
All right, I'll go first. And I'm going to start with an unpopular opinion. Tail of the Dragon, not that great of a destination.
I don't think
Is that
I don't think that's unpopular. We're wrong.
All right, so those of you who have never been there, let me just tell you, it's too crowded. It's not that long. The beer at the inn there is not that great. But getting there is, I will say that the Great Smoky Mountains Park is a fantastic, it was always the next day on the Babe Rally. It was amazing. The trip between Gatlinburg, Cherokee, Bryson City, Chiloe, that was my favorite day on the Babe Rally. It was gorgeous through this just amazing valley. That little sign that has like the corkscrew on it. There are just so many fantastic things to see in the Great Smoky Mountains Park. Go there, check it out.
And it's not that it's bad going to the Tail of the Dragon, but like if you make that the end all be all of that trip, you're going to be a little disappointed. There's some great roads all around it.
Yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think destination isn't necessarily important, really. What are you shredding, Mental?
Sorry.
Or you're playing. I think he's playing Yahtzee.
it's the bag. It's the infamous bag. It's the infamous bag of chips.
Yeah, that's one of those mowers the kids have that they just put.
The pop, yeah,
the whole bunch of dice. You're
the
shaking
push
them in a
pop.
cup.
Yeah.
It's Chris rebuilding the Honda motor, going through the bucket of bolts.
Uh-huh. All right. I don't think destination on a road trip is necessarily important. Sometimes it is, but sometimes you just want to go on a trip, and the destination is just an excuse to go. And in that case, the rest of the trip needs to be worth it. Like Chrissy and I did a great trip up through northern New England in the BMW, the M Coupe. So we drove that up through from Cape Cod up the North Shore of Massachusetts, all the way up into stopped in New Hampshire coast, all the way up into Maine. Hiked in Maine, did the Maine thing, worked our way back across through northern New Hampshire, did some hiking in New Hampshire in the White Mountains, drove to the top of Mount Washington, drove through Vermont, stayed in Burlington, went to Lake Placid, and back to Pennsylvania. So it wasn't really like a destination. It was just the whole event of going somewhere. And that's what made it a good road trip, was all the things that we got to do during the way. So it wasn't about getting somewhere.
Now,
it was a great...
Did you plan that as a sightseeing trip, or is it like, oh, we're going to go here, and then as you saw it, you was like, oh, we'll pull off and do this or do that?
I had a rough plan because I used to live up there, and I've been to most of these places, so we had a rough idea where we were going. And so we kept it loose, but with a basic plan in mind.
No.
It was now we hear the real story.
Well, it was loose-ish.
I know. We planned this day. We're going to end in this place because we met up with a whole bunch of people while we were there, and I'm sorry. I'm just going to say it. I don't loosely plan. Like, we had the hotel, where we were staying, researched every bed and breakfast that we stayed at. Yes.
For us, it was loosely planned. How about that?
Fine. Not even.
Yeah.
It was like by the end of the night. Well, sure, we could stop in these multiple places during the day, but we had ending spots every day.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, how hardcore is your schedule in that one? Because I used to be really hardcore about my road trip schedules, but what I figured out is even when I have certain things that I want to do, if I build in a couple of hours in there just for oddball stuff that pops up that looks fun or interesting, and then it's a lot less stressful when you can adjust.
It was loose in that it was all right. Today we're going from Portland to Acadia, and we want to go for a hike during the day, like that kind of.
As long, but we could always do it the next morning, or we can get dinner somewhere else, or we can. Yes, it was loosely planned, but we had a ending spot at night every day.
That way you don't get stuck in a crappy Motel 6 or something like that.
Yeah,
I understand that.
Yeah.
Which we also do on the fly, but I mean, pick hotels, not go to crappy ones.
So to wrap it up, destination is important if you have somewhere to be, but otherwise, it could just go somewhere that's fun on the way, and that can be good enough to destination, I think.
My suggestion was take a good road. Even if you're going somewhere, if you have a little bit of time, consider something else other than the highway, or maybe the highway has something that's a little more different.
And also, I was going. If you have a boring road trip, I had to drive my El Camino back from Oklahoma back when I first moved to Georgia, and it was going to be a boring road trip. But I decided to actually sat down and map out just interesting oddball crap during the way. And so all the way across Arkansas, and it took me twice as long, 3 times as long actually. I deliberately drove on 2-lane roads, and I had to just kind of look them all up and avoid the freeways the whole time. And I've done other boring trips where I just throw in some extra time to go stop and see the world's second largest ball of twine, or this restaurant that I've heard about that everyone says you have to go try the pancakes at or something.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, I have that coming up, talking about eating local. But before we get there, let's talk about what to bring. What do you got to bring with you? I went first last time. Who wants to jump in?
Don't bring your dogs. They're a giant pain in the butt. They bark at everything. The 2 little ones absolutely have to be in my lap the whole time, which today, dealing with 50-mile-an-hour crosswinds, was interesting. So,
yeah. I'll say you've got to bring at least a cooler, so you still have some cold beverages no matter how far you are from your gas stop, and some snacks. If you're in a group, a CB radio or some other just good quality radios make a huge difference. And that's how you get, fun facts from Jeff, or you hassle somebody, or you tell someone that you just dodged a piece that fell off their Lincoln Continental, because all these things happen regularly. Yeah. If you're in a convertible, don't forget your sunscreen. Really.
Said another great listener to Jen. She needs to listen. My sister Jen. She needs to know that one.
Been there.
Yep.
Sunglasses are important too. Also, if you're going to do any activities along the way, don't forget the gear that you will facilitate those activities. Because as fun as it is to just throw a change of underwear in the car, then you're going to miss out on some other things you might like to do. So, put some basic activities in there.
The door behind you keeps opening and closing, and it seems like I think the cat's going in it, but the door slammed when I thought you just left the door.
It's a ghost.
You
the
told
cat,
me to close the door, but the wind is blowing it open and closed.
Oh, it's not the cat slamming the door. It's like
the wind.
Yeah, Dad.
Usually I thought it. Yeah, usually I blame Asti because it's like, whatever, you guys are ignoring me. I'm out of here.
Right, that's what she's saying.
I'm going under the couch.
I'm the only one petless at the moment because they're still at the puppy hotel. I will mention, because I just got back, you need to bring something to listen to, especially if you're going to bonsai and your passenger seat is going to be filled with sleeping person. Quick story, not to sound like mental, but in 1998, I drove across country with my best buddy,
in the Air
Steve.
Force?
I was not in the Air Force. We were both just graduating college. We were in an early 90s regular cab Ranger with a cap on the back, and we slept in it. We both assumed the other guy brought some tunes. We only had like 4 or 6 cassette tapes. And once you get out where Mental is right now, there are not a lot of radio stations. I will never forget those 6 or 8 tapes because we listened to them back to back to back.
I did a similar thing. We rented a car with a cassette player to drive from Omaha to Spokane, Washington. And once we got out here, we actually stopped at a record store and went through their bargain tape bin and spent like $20 on all of their markdown tapes, including Will Smith's Willennium, and just to break up the monotony.
We bought a couple from a truck stop too.
Audiobooks.
I love audiobooks. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What?
I listened to like all of Game of Thrones on audiobook.
Audiobooks. If not, then hey, great podcasts. Maybe like this one.
Have you guys heard the Micro podcast, the new one? That's how I heard it.
Oh.
It is. In fact, even we've been binging it all day today. Even Paul Harvey's son sent him a very nice letter and made a donation to the Micro Foundation because they're saying Micro is inherited the Paul Harvey rest of the story style. And it's worth it. The Micro podcast, they're 5 to 10 minutes. They're fantastic.
Let's just clarify. That's Mike Rowe, like
R-O-W.
the Dirty Jobs guy.
Exactly,
Not
the
Micro,
Dirty Jobs
like,
guy.
Mike.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes,
R-O.
Mike
Like the
Rowe.
small.
Can
Yes,
I put in a plug? Mental, make sure you tell your wife what I'm about to tell you.
Oh God.
I have heard through a reliable third-party source that if you have a podcast like one that you're on, you really shouldn't force your wife to listen to it when it's about a topic that they don't care about.
Are you telling me I have to tell my wife this? Because my wife tells me immediately, like, as the podcast goes, ours always comes on my phone. And she's like, I'm not listening to that crap.
Yes. You just tell her that the message has been delivered.
The message has been delivered that Jeff now knows that he's not supposed to listen to his own podcast when his wife's in the car.
No, you're not.
Like
I don't make
torture.
my wife listen.
My wife won't let me make her listen, so.
Anyway.
I hear you tell it. Why would I want to hear it again?
Yeah,
That's right.
They heard that. Sorry, hold on. Say that again for the benefit of the listeners.
We heard it.
The list,
Oh,
no,
we heard
we
it
can hear. We can
perfectly.
hear her.
Oh yeah.
Even more than once.
Sounded-
Practices. I don't want to hear it again.
He practices.
I think it's clear to everyone who listens that we don't practice.
It's torture.
All right.
This is great.
All right, what else
Post
is
number
great?
5.
What?
Chrissy, what do you think?
I was just thinking anything that can make you feel a little bit. I was thinking cup holders are great. Especially since when we get in the car, sometimes that is not something that you have in the car and you have to install them yourself. So things like that just make things a little bit more comfortable. Yep. Like sometimes our seats, when they're leather, I don't like leather seats because my legs stick to them. And so a towel make my legs not stick to the seat makes me a little happier. So things like that. They're just like, oh, it's small, but it's
easier to get a towel than ventilated seats.
True.
Those are lovely.
Yes. And snacks.
Awesome. Am I doing the next prompt or somebody else going to do it? What car to bring? What makes a good road trip car?
Mental, you start.
Let me run the gamut on this one because for the bonsai trips, I argue that it needs to be something you can crash in because I used to do bonsais all the time from Omaha back to Georgia, and somewhere along that line I was going to end up needing a power crash. I had an RX-7 that was really good about that. My GTI was really good. My Suzuki Samurai was awful. My Chevy pickup I could actually rack out in the on the bench seat. It's terrible if you're trying to get someplace in a hurry, but I cannot or when you're trying to put gas in it, but I cannot dog on the RV. The RV is an excellent road trip vehicle if you're not trying to get there in a hurry.
Yeah, totally. Another car, if you're not trying to get there in a hurry, NA Miata. This is actually a good road trip car as long as hearing or packing more than a fresh pair of skivvies is not important to you. On the highway, the drone just cannot be beat in an NA Miata, especially a 1.6. I guess I'm saying if you're soft, go ahead and pick something else, but NA Miata forever.
I'm going, and the NBs and NCs are really nice too. I Babe Rally in a Miata, so I agree. But maybe something with a little bit bigger trunk. That might be nice. And I don't know that I agree with the place to sleep in the car. So it's nice that we can sleep in the sub, but I feel like, and I guess I just maybe haven't gone anywhere to need to not have a place that I can crash in a hotel, but I'm all for some kind of hotel just because. So I guess it depends what kind of trip you're going to.
Yeah,
but
it's counter to the bonsai if you're getting in a hotel.
Sleep in the passenger seat. 6 hours on, 6 hours off. Keep going.
I know I'm going to sleep so terribly that what's the point? Yeah. So I'm thinking you've got to have something with some cruising legs.
Yeah.
That'll comfortably go 80 all day, no problem.
Yeah.
And that's where like an NA Miata comes up a little short.
Yes.
You're working an NA to stay at 80 or above. You're working it hard. And, like an NB is a little bit better in that account. And then like the furthest end of the spectrum of that is like an AMG Mercedes. At 80, it's like, what, really? It's like 2,000 RPM. What do you want to do?
Even my CLK 430 was phenomenal.
So, but you can find something in between there that's good enough. Like a great balance was like our Saab 9000 Turbo. That would happily run 80 something all day, even though it was a janky piece of junk.
Oh, no.
And it got 30 miles per gallon doing it. So something like that, but it's got to have some legs and it's got to have at least some handling to it. Like as much as you think, yeah, like a 76 Caddy would be a sweet road trip car, right?
Mm-mm.
No.
You're gonna get pretty bored of that as soon as you're not like in Oklahoma on the highway.
And honestly, while you're in Oklahoma and you hit one bump and it bounces for the next 7 miles, boing, boing.
So I think you've got to have at least a little bit of performance. That's why I don't like pickup trucks for road trips. Like the new modern ones are very different, but like older trucks, it's like about the cutoff is about the GMT 800 Suburban is about the cutoff for where things started to get good. Like Mental's the Snowflake, I drove that thing 75 to 85, 800 miles. I did a bonsai trip. I stopped twice. Once was for gas and lunch and to try to fix the air conditioner, which was unsuccessful. And the other time was just for gas, and that was it. Keep going.
Yeah, set to cruise and she'll pull.
Good time. Oh, yeah. Who knew?
And it's a stealth machine, too. Cops are like, oh, that thing's not going that fast.
Yeah.
Stealth definitely helps.
Well, with the blown shocks, the wandering steering, and 100,000-mile spark plugs, but it worked out okay. No driver's windows open. It was 90 degrees. Yeah, I had the sunroof and all the other windows open. Oh, well.
Nice. So, just want to, I think this might be our last topic here. What do you do along the way? Anybody have any great tips between stops? What do you do?
I've gotten over like trying to be the cool guy, and I do the cheesy stuff. Whatever little goofy roadside attraction there is, or you stop at the state line sign. There's the great McDonald's that it actually is over the freeway in Oklahoma, and I'm not a fast food person, but that's a unique destination. All out here, it's all the real tribal Indian jewelry blanket shops. Now they all kind of look the same after a while. I enjoy all that kind of nonsense. We stopped at the Route 66 Museum yesterday and spent 2 hours there just wandering around and looking at all that kind of nerdy stuff. I enjoy that.
Nice.
It's been too long since I did a road trip that I wasn't just trying to get somewhere. Almost all the time now, I am just trying to get somewhere, and I don't care what's in between. So that'd be nice to do, just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put a plug for eating local. Eating local in the
Toads.
Roach, in slightly sketchy, not really sure they speak my language, not really sure I have any clue what's going on here. I'm going to say that I have eaten at some of the smallest, oddest, quote, my wife would never eat there kind of places, and gotten some of the greatest food. I've eaten jerky out of the back of a VW van, technically out of the side. That taco place that Chrissy and I did in California was amazeballs.
Hell yeah!
So when they say like, do you want the special? And you're like, yes. I don't.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't even know what it is. Yes.
Actually, I was like, is it the tongue? Because I'm not interested in the tongue.
Oh no.
The tongue tacos? No, I don't want that.
Some kind of stew.
Well, some kind of stew. They're the best places. I ate at this random breakfast joint in New Mexico that I went there and I was like, they were like, well, what kind of sauce do you want? And I was like, I don't know what kind of sauce I want on my eggs. And they said, well, you can have red, green, or Christmas. I did not know what this question was. I said Christmas.
Duh.
And I didn't realize I was in the Hatch Valley of New Mexico, and the New Mexico
Chili
chilies
capital of the world.
were amazing. You got a scoop of red and a scoop of green when you ask for Christmas. The rest of the week, I was like, do you have Christmas? Do you have Christmas? I want them both. I want them both. Amazing.
Well, what about that lakeside place we did the last Babe rally we all did? The fried chicken.
Picture.
Yeah. And actually nowadays with a
boiled
phone.
peanuts.
Oh yeah, hey, you get somebody that's boiling peanuts out of the back of their truck. That's some good eating right there. But
and then everybody tried to eat them when they were too hot. So everyone just kept going like this, like, oh, no. But everyone wanted to eat them.
We should explain this. We're on the Babe rally. There's a bunch of us driving through. We're all Northerners except for Mental, who's from like who the frick knows where. And we keep seeing all these signs for boiled peanuts. And I was like, guys, I've never had a boiled peanut. I want to stop and get some of these boiled peanuts. So we stopped and we all we stood around a cauldron. They like gave us like a bag, right? It was like a
bag,
brown
yeah.
It's a brown paper bag. That's how it's done.
Yeah.
And we're like eating them, describing what we think they taste like. It was like, it's like warm fish. It's like warm fish, but harder.
But they were
These
so
are really
hot.
gross. What else are we going to eat? I don't know. We just sat there and ate them for like an hour. They were like, I'm not even sure we liked them. We just kept eating them.
That's about right. Yeah.
The locals.
But with the advent of phones, there's no excuse for eating bad food on a road trip.
Agreed.
True.
Yeah. Like Chrissy and I were in California. We're in Bakersfield for a Lemons race, and we're like, all right, we need some good food, like real good, especially the Mexican food. So Chrissy gets on like TripAdvisor, wherever she found it.
Yeah.
And there was a Mexican hole in the wall. We were the only English-speaking people there, but we got the order in, and we had the most incredible fish tacos, and like another burrito. Fish tacos was the star.
It was the star, and it was one of those because the TripAdvisor said get the fish tacos, and that was before I even liked or knew that I liked fish tacos so much. And I was like, all right, we'll just get one, and we got all the rest of this food, and we're just like we both fought over this fish taco because it was that good. So yes, find the place that you don't belong.
It was across the street from a liquor store with bars in the windows, like that.
Oh
yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. A place you would not normally ever put yourself.
Yeah.
That's where to go to eat.
Yeah,
that was a great spot. So I agree totally there. If
the more ladder trucks and construction vans in the parking lot, that's where you want to have breakfast or lunch.
It's true. Let's do a really quick on the spot around the table. Everybody tell us the weirdest thing. This does not count. I'm still going to do just a tip. What is the weirdest thing that has ever happened on a road trip? We already heard Mental had a fire, so he is almost.
That's not even my weirdest thing.
I shouldn't say weirdest thing because everyone's going to rack their brain. One weird thing that happened on a road trip. I think Chris has got one brewing. Go.
I sat in Woodrow Wilson's presidential Pierce Arrow limousine while dressed as Elvis. I'll just leave it at that.
That's pretty weird. Yeah. Chrissy.
I got it.
Right.
West Virginia, driving through as Superman. Kid yells out the window of a bus, "Go home, Fruit Loops!" My whole car was full of people dressed as Superman, and that wasn't even weird because it's just Superman. It's not Elvis. It's not Dorothy. It's not any of the other things we've dressed up as. That was pretty normal. They told us to go home.
Fruit Loops.
Yep. Excellent.
Matt, you got something?
In the mid '90s, we were getting out of we were coming out of New Orleans. We stopped in New Orleans, and I got panhandled by a uniformed New Orleans police officer.
What?
So,
Like, hey, brother, can you spare a dime?
almost. We're gassing up the car. We're getting ready to go back. It's early morning. We've had a good time down there in the quarter, and the gas station had an off duty cop because it's 4 a.m. and it's New Orleans.
Yeah.
So the guy comes over and he sees the base sticker on my. That was how I used to get on base back in the day. He sees the base sticker on my car. Oh, hey, you're in the Air Force? Yeah, blah 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 blah. We're talking. And he goes, yeah, I did some time myself, da 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 da, and we're just having a nice conversation. And the guy goes, hey man, I work this place every Friday night. Man, that the guy that runs it, the manager, he won't even give me like a donut and a cup of coffee. I'm like, well, that's just kind of stupid, man. He goes, can I get a couple bucks so I go get a donut and a cup of coffee? Oh sure, man, yeah, no problem. You're a cop, why not? And I hand him $5, and I don't even. I'm 10 miles down the road before I realized I just got panhandled by a uniformed police officer.
That's pretty crazy. So here's my kind of weird one. Once this is an Eric story that doesn't involve Connie. We were driving back from the Babe Rally one year, and he had this effed up Subaru wagon, and it had broken along the side of the road with like an axle nut that was off or something. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah. It was the rear axle nut was coming loose, and that holds the wheel bearing together.
So he
goes through it.
So he asked me, "Hey, you got a battery charger or a pair of jumper cables?" And I was like, "Sure." So I got him some. I think I had a battery charger.
You had jumper cables.
Jumper cables.
I was there.
And he undid a wire hanger and started welding on the side of a road with a pair of jumper cables and a wire hanger, and I thought that was pretty damn wacky.
Because that's Eric, though.
Yeah. Nowadays, that
the
would
wire
be like
hanger,
totally
Jeff.
Normal.
The
Yeah.
wire hanger was from your
My Elvis outfit.
Matador Elvis costume.
Yes, I clearly remember that.
Yeah.
We have to say this is not Eric number 5 of our show.
Oh no,
Eric.
not
No, it's
Eric
not.
Rude. I should
Yes.
say.
Or
At
Eric
first-
Fitzler. Yeah.
Right. So at first, when you were telling the story, I was like, Eric Rude. I don't know that he did that, but okay.
No,
Just
no.
clarifying.
But we should come up with a nickname for Eric. Dirty Pants Eric?
Mad Scientist Eric.
Eric the Mad Scientist, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, Mad Scientist Eric. I don't think we'd really known him that well at that point. This was like the first rally we were on with him, and
Yeah. That's how we got to know him.
We
We
said
were the
this
ones that stopped it. Yeah.
oh, and he fixed Connie so often.
So
You know what
often.
story I should have said now that I said Connie is when we were broken down in Connie. I believe it was when the tire delaminated and it ripped the wiring harness out of the ignition module.
Yeah.
We're sitting there trying to fix it, and a guy cruises by in a pickup truck with a hatch on it and tries to sell us car batteries. He's like, "Oh, it's your battery, man? I got some in the back. I'll sell you one. $20 each. $20 each. Sell you a car battery." We're like, "No, dude, we're okay."
I was sitting in the shade of a broken down car because it was so hell on. Oh, and that makes me think of when Eric Dirty Pants says that this is like the grapes of wrath in the
Sitting in the restaurant, right?
Oh man, Connie itself is just a whole road trip story. Of
Yeah.
sadness.
If you ever are around Jeff after a couple rums, ask him about Connie to really tell you. It's
Yeah.
worth it.
Maybe we'll do that as a show thing later.
We probably need to just because it's funny.
All right,
okay.
let's get on to the end of the show. Wait, I have to roll my eyes. Really? Listen,
Go for
it's
it.
My justice tip. And I'm doing justice tip because I am the person who fails at this very frequently, and it is don't fall asleep behind the wheel.
No.
Very frequent.
When I had my really bad sleep apnea, that was one of the things that I noticed that was happening. So
Falling asleep.
I was having trouble staying awake at all times of the time.
My God.
I stole this from the National Sleep Foundation website. They said it's not always easy to tell when you're too tired to drive. Here are some signs when it's time to pull over. Difficulty focusing.
Yep.
Frequently blinking, heavy eyelids. Daydreaming. Wandering, disconnected thoughts. which happens to me all the damn time. Trouble remembering the last few miles. Missing exits or traffic signs. Yawning repeatedly, rubbing your eyes. Trouble keeping your head up when you feel yourself doing this little dab thing with your head as I hit the microphone.
My God.
You're falling asleep, dude.
Terrifying.
Drifting from your lane. Tailgating, hitting the rumble strips. You might be falling asleep. Feeling restless or irritable. You might be falling asleep. So the best way to make sure that your body and mind are in optimal driving shape is to plan ahead. Get sleep before you drive. Take a pre-drive nap. If you're really feeling drowsy, pull over. Take 20 minutes while you're driving. Buddy system. Safest way, have a partner on a long trip. Pull over every couple hours. Switch drivers. Let them sleep.
And that was when I was doing my bonsai trips, all the time. And you try to like John Wayne it as much as possible. Yeah, I'm not staying in a hotel, and there was no one in the car with me. That's what I would do is find a well-lit truck stop and pull my car between two semis, lock the doors, rack out.
Chris is breathing in his mic.
Stop it.
Like
right, and we're trying to get your attention.
Laughing.
I know.
So anyway, don't rush. It is better to arrive at your destination safe than on time. Don't drink alcohol. This is pretty obvious. But even small amounts, you might not be too drunk to drive, but it will make you drowsy. Don't drive between midnight and 6 a.m. Did you hear that, everybody?
Yeah, whatever.
No. Yeah, we do that all the time.
No, we don't.
Drink caffeine. Coffee.
Purple drink.
You got to be careful about that though, because if you caffeine up too much, you'll crash, and then that's gonna make you and put you in bad shape as well. So you have to be very careful about your caffeine and kind of modulate it.
Hell no.
Purple
drink.
Hey,
all right.
Before you kick onto next week's show, which I think we're all going to talk about our Sunday, and we all binge watch all these pro events. We'll talk about our favorite stuff, or maybe we won't. I don't know.
Sure. My
brother-in-law got sent an article on this website called Car Buzz. We just added it to the show notes, and it was all about the 24 Hours of Lemons. It's a bit dated information because the guy still talks about the People's Curse and all that other kind of stuff. But what was interesting is he's throwing up all these legendary cars, and of course, mentioned in the race cars that you've never seen them before on Car Buzz is the boat.
Oh, yeah, we posted that on our social media earlier.
We posted that twice, actually.
The Car Buzz?
It's actually a new, yes.
No, it's a new article. The article is written on May 19th, but they're talking,
correct.
if you read the text of it, he's like, there's the People's Curse, which they haven't done since what, Summit Point back in the day when they blew up the car that like somebody donated to blow up a car.
I think so. Actually, Chrissy, I think we posted that on the 3 p.m. social media. I don't think we did it on E1R.
Okay.
That's true.
But it was funny because my brother-in-law, he's kind of a gearhead. He's gearhead light, but he's scrolling through this and he had to go back to the guy. He goes, "Yeah, that's my brother-in-law."
Yeah.
Yep.
Anyway, next show. What are we doing? Do we know? No. Probably New Jersey prep. Probably talking about some races. All those pro races out there.
Yeah, that's actually it is the
different.
New Jersey pregame show. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever we decide.
Do we know what cars we're bringing yet?
Maybe
by the end of the week.
Maybe by next week
We have
will.
an assorted selection of potential cars.
There we go. It's like The Bachelor for race cars, which would be a great reality YouTube show. You just have a bunch of crappy race cars, and one race driver has to choose one.
Well, awesome. Thank you for coming out, everyone. Thank you for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and building, because everyone can be a racer, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Even if you hate us, give us 5 stars and tell us why, just like Game of Thrones. If you have any questions or show ideas, drop a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.coffeecups.com. Find us on Instagram, Twitter at everyone.racers, excuse me. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless there is no shiny side, then just keep the wheels down.